I just asked him to come up and share a little bit. Dave was in the army for a long, long time, and I just asked him to come up. I'm going to put some questions to him, just so we can understand a little bit of his background, about what he learned, and maybe about what we can do as Christians as well, when we see people in forces life, how we can help. So, so Dave, come on, just they know your name.
Do know.
They know you, and actually, Evie, when she sees Dave, she's got a nickname for him, because Dave for a while had problems with his eye, and he still can't actually see out of one eye. So he lost his vision earlier this year. January this year, he lost his vision in his one eye, and Evie saw him when he was wearing a patch, and he was carrying his stick as well, and he had his boot on, and Evie said to me, "Daddy, who's that pirate who comes to church?" So whether we should call him Dave, the pirate, Sir, Mr. Hain, whatever you...
Anyone will do.
Anyone will do. Dave, just tell everyone here a little bit like what life was like for you before you joined the military, and what led you to join them.
Firstly, good morning everyone. Excuse me. I was born 1956 in a little village called Ladybank, which is up the Fife in Scotland. Left school when I was 16. There was no employment in the little village, so I actually found my first job was in a bakery 7 miles away in Cooper. I had to get up at 4 o'clock every morning, cycle 7 miles to work, do an 8-hour shift, cycle home again, in all weathers. So I'd done that for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and I thought, no, this is not for me. So I decided, woke up one morning, let's see what the army's got to offer. So I walked 18 miles to the nearest army recruiting office. Popped in, I said, what's the army got to offer me? The guy in charge was a sergeant major from the Black Watch, which is my local regiment in Scotland. And he said, join the Black Watch, it's great, you'll have a great time. I said, yeah, what else is it about? I said, money-wise, what's the wages like? He said, all the military get paid the same. I went, isn't any specialists? He said, well, there's parachute regiment. I went, that'll do for me, put me down for that. I hadn't a clue what the paras did, but I signed up there on that day and joined 2 para. 3 weeks later, I was on a train from Ladybank to Aldershot to join the army. And after 6 months of very hard training, I could call myself a para.
Excellent. So what, leading on from that, and Dave, what was life like in the military for you and your family?
Well, when I first started in the army, I was single. First 3 years, I was in an army in the barracks in Aldershot, going away on exercise after the training had finished. And then I got married to Rachel, and we got an army quarter in Aldershot. And then 77 to 79, we got posted to Berlin. Again, we got an army quarter, and our army quarter overlooked Spandau Prison. And in Spandau Prison at the time, there was one prisoner, Rudolf Hess. And it took 70 men every day to look after the sole pensioner in Spandau Prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And moving on from that, Dave, you were involved in the Falklands War?
Yeah, certainly was.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was it like going off to more serious conflict?
All the way down, we sailed down there, and all the way down, we always thought, this is not going to happen. There's going to be peace talks and it won't happen. But as soon as they sunk the HMS Sheffield, we knew we were going into war. The night before the battle, we got cross-decked to a ship called the Norland. And in the Norland, before we went ashore, every battalion in the army has a padre. It's just, I was about to say a bit like you, but these are real soldiers. He's a padre. And before we went ashore,
turn his mic down.
we all got in the ship's lounge. There was about 650 men from 2 para, and the padre held the service before we disembarked on a landing craft under the cover of darkness. With naval gunfire flying over our heads, we went ashore. And the Navy at the time told us, you see all these films with landing craft. He said, if you sit at the back, the landing craft goes up the beach and you won't get wet. The door came down, we jumped out, waist deep, freezing water. Great start. And that was in the Falklands. See, we were lucky as the 2nd Battalion of Parachute Regiment. We were first ashore, first into battle, and first into Stanley. So nobody can take that away from us.
Very good. Share with everyone here, Dave, maybe just perhaps highlight of your time in the parish, and maybe also just perhaps the lowest point, if you're happy to share that with us.
I've got to say this because Steve's here. One of the highlights was getting married to Rachel, and then watching the birth of my two sons.
Yeah,
Other highlight, Wireless Ridge, just overlooking Port Stanley. We were in a trench, freezing cold, because temperatures at night got down to -20 and just hovered above freezing during the day. But a message come over on my radio saying, it's a white flag flying over Stanley. Very prominently.
yeah.
Dark moments, we had lots of them. But in the army, you only tend to remember the good times. One of the bad times was, probably heard of it, Warren Point, Northern Ireland. We were driving past in a convoy, and the IRA set off a hay truck bombing next to us, killing 2 bad guys. So almost 14 guys in that one day. Goose Green, we lost 18. Wireless Ridge, we lost another 5. So once we captured Port Stanley, we were first in the battalion in Port Stanley. We decided to hold another church service. Padre got us together in the church. We marched through Port Stanley, with all the villagers in the church service, just to thank God for getting us through it and saying goodbye to the fallen brothers.
Yeah. That's great. Thanks for sharing that with us, Dave. But as a church, Brecon is a military town, having down lines here. As a church, we might have contact with people who are serving in the army by family links or through neighbours or people at schools or work. How can we best pray, for people who are serving in the military? What can we do as a church to pray so that we help them?
As we do now, keep the military, all branches of the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, keep them in your prayers and thoughts all the time. They're on standby 24/7, 52 weeks a year to go out and protect us. If it wasn't for the military, we wouldn't be sitting here today. So just keep them in your prayers.
Brilliant. Come on, give Dave a round of applause.